Finovate showcases cutting-edge banking and financial technology through a global conference series featuring short-form demos and thought leadership. Now, the conversation continues on the Finovate podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the Finovate podcast. We are wrapping up our series focusing on the FinovateSpring Best of Show winners. It's been a great couple of weeks exploring all of the companies that won trophies in San Francisco. And last but certainly not least, we have Maya Mikhailov, founder and CEO of Savvi AI. Maya, thank you so much for taking the time to connect with me today.
Thanks so much for having me, Greg.
So as the audience has heard me several times over the last couple of weeks, all of the videos from FinovateSpring are available at finovate.com/videos. You can find Savvi AI's demo there. But Maya, for those of us who haven't seen it, can you give us a quick little intro about yourself and Savvi AI?
Absolutely. So prior to starting Savvi, I ran an AI division at Synchrony Financial, where we built AI products for the banking and credit teams. And since leaving Synchrony, I was really on a mission to get AI and to get machine learning into more teams' hands, to let them use this powerful technology and tool to accomplish their business goals, because we really saw it working. And now it was a question of, we need more people to be using this because it is such a powerful tool to turn data into decisions. And that was the genesis behind Savvi, is to be a tool that helps any bank or fintech build and launch their own goal-driven use cases without the need for heavy resources, specialists, complicated integrations. And what we were really excited to demo at the last Finovate is now they can run AI natively in their Excel spreadsheets. So they can get the entire power of our platform and never leave Excel. So whether they're forecasting loan delinquency, analyzing deposit data to find patterns of churn, or wanting to lower their ACH return rates, there's so much that they can be doing right now with the data that they have and the processes and tools that they already have in front of them.
Yeah, no, it is really cool. And we'll talk more about that decision to kind of demo it in Excel a little bit later on, because I think that's really unique. But before we get there, one thing I just want to highlight is it's been fun for me to kind of get to see your company evolve. You first came to the Finovate stage last year, won Best of Show at FinovateSpring 2023 as well. Can you talk about what you've been working on since we first saw you on the stage a year ago?
I think what we've been working on is one of our North Stars as a company is make it easier for more teams to start with AI. But as we started expanding as a company, we started talking to more and more banks, not just fintechs. And when we started talking to banks, we realized that their trouble with getting started was that they needed an easier way. And we kept hearing, make it easier, make it easier. I love your platform, but I don't know how I can start with my existing team. I don't know how I can start without doing a lengthy core integration and so much more. And that's when we've evolved as a company, and we really saw the benefit of offering them a solution within a tool that they use every day, i.e. their spreadsheets and Excel. And that's the evolution you've seen from like 2023 to 2024, is we really went on that listening tour with financial institutions. And the result of that was the Excel Savvi Sheet solution.
Yeah, no, I think it's clear to see the difference from a tech standpoint. I think there's also a difference in how you're talking about it and presenting it. And I think there's a lot, obviously, that you've gained from some of those conversations. Can you talk a little bit about how that piece has shifted as well as you've embarked on that listening tour you were talking about?
Absolutely. I think the way that we've started talking about it is more in the jobs to be done, use cases that we can solve. Now we talk about it not you're doing AI for the sake of AI. We are now speaking about it in what is the problem you're trying to solve? Are you trying to get more deposits or stop people from churning? Are you trying to figure out which loans are about to go delinquent? What are you trying to do? What problem are you trying to solve? And how can AI help you solve your problem if AI is really the best solution for your problem? So I think we've taken it out of the realm of technology and into the realm of these are strategic business initiatives you have or problems you have. How can AI be a tool to accomplish those goals rather than AI for the sake of AI?
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a maturing of the industry as a whole, because certainly, AI in general has been a hot topic for a long time. We kind of poked some fun at that at your demo at Finovate Fall last year. Oh God, another AI demo. But looking at the
Yep.
way you present it now, it's much more targeted. It's much more kind of readily useful, which I think is a big difference. So, I want to come back now to this idea of, obviously you presented it in Excel. The benefits are really easy to see in that platform. And again, here's why I remind everybody that you should go check out the video itself to see what I'm talking about. But can you talk why that was the best way to visualize what Savvy can do? Why is Excel actually? It's rare that we see it on the Finovate stage, but why was it the right platform for you?
We wanted to show them how accessible and easy it could really be. Excel is a tool that, for better or for worse, everybody uses in the fintech, FinServe, FI space. It is almost a universal language of finance. And what we really wanted to show is, here's a tool that you're familiar with. Here's a process that you're familiar with. Now let's make it easier. Let's make it more accurate. Let's give you value in a tool that you're comfortable with using today. And also, it became tangible. We talk a lot about AI and machine learning. A lot of what it does, a lot of what the machine learning does, is behind the scenes. So it's really hard to describe, hey, it's just going to make things better. It's just going to make ACH return rates go down. It's just going to help you forecast your capital requirements better. It's hard to visualize that sometimes. And I think that what we're often finding is, if you could boil it down to, this is a spreadsheet. Here's a forecast you're already running. Here's how you can make this forecast more accurate. Or here is a list of your customer data. Here's how you can look at that data and find the insights of who you can cross-sell, upsell to, or so much more.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that makes sense. And again, it speaks to the evolution that you were talking about. So, looking beyond what you demoed on stage, where else do you think people can point Savvy most effectively?
There are so many places that you can point Savvy most effectively. What I tell people that is, wherever you have a bunch of data, often, tabular data, Excel-based data as well, and you're trying to make constant data-driven decisions. That is a great place for machine learning, where you have an abundance of data. And by the way, an abundance of data can be just the Excel spreadsheet data. And you're trying to make better decisions on how to run your business. And look, a lot of people talk about being data driven and using data driven decisioning, but oftentimes we're going cross eyed while looking through reams and reams of data, trying to find signals through the noise. AI and machine learning, and using Savvy to execute that, is a great way of quickly getting to that signal, getting to that ROI, using AI in a very, very practical and tangible way.
Do you have some examples of the ways that some of your customers are using you effectively? I know this is something which you can't necessarily give a ton of detail around, but where are you seeing some of the financial institutions that you've already engaged with used it super effectively?
Sure. So, for example, let's take ACH return rates. We're working with payments companies today who have lowered their ACH return rates by as much as 30%. That's tangible dollars that went outside the door prior to that, and prior to launching with Savvy AI. We're also helping financial institutions really identify patterns in their depositor data that are leading to churn. Right now, there's a huge concept in banking right now, a huge problem in banking that's like, we need to increase deposits, we need to preserve deposits. And yet they're not looking at their customer data enough to say, what are the signals that someone's about to churn? What are the signals that their deposits going out the door to another product? They're not, I guess what I'm trying to say is, they're not activating the data that they already have to make better decisioning. It's usually not really complicated. I mean, we're also working with other financial institutions on helping them increase profitability by identifying trends in customers who are most likely to become profitable, and what that next best product is to get that increased customer account growth.
Yeah, I think this is one of those areas too where there's so much room for creativity, and I think anybody who is kind of following the space is interested. Can AI do this? Can Savvy help me do this? I think it's always good to ask those kinds of questions, because this is where you can really turn a solution like Savvy AI into something that's going to be immediately useful. I want to zoom out a little bit and talk about AI more broadly, because I think there are two seemingly contradictory truths that are out there in the space right now. The first is that everybody is sick of hearing about AI. It's everywhere. We're over it. And the second one is that we're still just beginning to understand what AI can really do for us. How can these two truths exist at the same time? What's your take on that?
Obviously, we're hearing a lot about AI. Greg, you and I even joked at a previous Finovate where I had you throw a tomato at me because that's how sick everybody is about hearing AI. I even heard a banker at that very same conference say, if another startup starts talking about AI in front of me, I'm going to puke. And that's as we were going up on stage, by the way. So I think there's a huge gap right now between what AI companies are talking about in tech conferences and the sort of hype about what AI could be in the future. And on the practical level at industry conferences, whether it be banking or fintech, the problems they're trying to solve today. And there's not a bridge between what AI could be in the future and this world of AI that we can live in, but how can I use it today to solve my problems? So while AI companies are talking about like landing rockets on Mars, vectorized databases, hyperparameter measures, day-to-day bankers are talking about increasing deposits, increasing profitability. Fintechs are talking about how can we look at our lending profiles of our customers and make the right decision about which customers to lend to that are likely to repay. And so that gap is growing wider also because I think there's not an appreciation of the everyday practical needs of certain industries around AI. And also, there's not a really great appreciation by many AI companies and how seriously banks and regulated institutions need to take data security into trust, that they can't just throw AI spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. So I think when you hear that people are sick about hearing about AI, I think they're sick about hearing about the hype, and they're not sick about hearing how they could use it today and how they can build a bridge to getting their business goals accomplished, to growing, et cetera. That they're not sick about hearing, but they're certainly sick about hearing of like Scarlett Johansson's voice is going to be our pocket girlfriend from now on.
Well, and certainly there are some interesting aspects of AI that have to be considered. And I think this is potentially true for other areas outside of AI. Anytime you have this situation where you have a lot of hype and people hear about the hype and they don't see the kind of relevance for themselves, they don't see it as solving a real world problem for themselves, it does become a little bit frustrating. It becomes annoying because you keep hearing, okay, you need to focus on this. And then you have this question, why? Why do I need to focus on this? And now we're starting to see that question, why, get thoroughly answered, right? We're starting to really see the benefits that can come from it. So hopefully we can get past it. I don't think we're done hearing about AI by any stretch, but hopefully we're done getting annoyed by it because now we're starting to see, here's what we can actually do with it. Here's how it's going to be relevant for us. So hopefully that gap starts to shrink.
Absolutely. And that's why we often refer to our platform as practical AI, because I'm not afraid to embrace the word practical when it comes to AI, because AI is just a tool to achieve your goals. And so it should be thought of in very, very practical ways.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tool. If it doesn't do something useful for you, then you don't need it. But it has no value on its own other than what it can do to make other processes easier. So last question, as somebody who really understands the AI space, this is really, really high level. Are you more scared about what AI can do, or are you more optimistic? Because I think anytime you talk about AI, you hear these potentially terrifying thoughts about what it means for things like fraud, what it means for personality impersonation or ID impersonation. There's all sorts of ways that people could misuse it. There's also this massive upside of what it could potentially do and all these efficiencies that it could bring us. Where do you fall on this spectrum? Are you kind of more cautious or more optimistic?
I'm definitely long-term optimistic. Short-term, I'm very, very cautious because I care about things such as data privacy. I care about things such as transparency and AI ethics. And, we're seeing some bad actors that are using the power of AI to execute, as you said, they can execute fraud, they can execute scams with people's voices, et cetera. So in the short term, I'm a little trepidatious and hesitant about what AI can bring. But in the long term, I know that just like any new technology, there will be people who jump in to abuse it, and there will be white hat developers, security, cyber experts, et cetera, out there who are pushing the forefront of that data privacy and security. And I'm really optimistic that once AI gets into more people's hands, once it becomes more democratized, that you don't need to have a specialist, you don't need a PhD to use it, I think what you're going to find is that there are many great use cases for AI that you didn't even think about that could just make your life a little bit easier, make some of the mundane tasks that you're doing that much faster to execute. So long-term optimistic, short-term still a little bit cautious, especially around data security and safety.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that makes sense to me as well. So we will leave it there for today. Again, would encourage you to check out the video for Savvi AI, along with all of the Best of Show winners and all the other demos as well that were at FinovateSpring 2024 in San Francisco. Maya, thank you so much for taking the time to connect with me. Great to see the product continuing to evolve, and congratulations on another Best of Show win.
Thank you so much, Greg. It was great demoing at Finovate as always, and I look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Sounds good.
The Finovate podcast is produced by Informa Connect in association with Provoke.fm Media. Check out Finovate.com for information on Finovate's upcoming shows and to learn how you can get involved. The discount code Finovate Podcast will save you 20% on tickets to all of our events. And you can email us at info@finovate.com for information on sponsoring, speaking, or demoing. Thanks for listening.